It's time for Tubi Tuesday. Hello. Oh. Welcome to Tubi Tuesday, where I review a movie that is on the Tubi app. And so, today's movie, I need to do something because we need to figure out how I'm going to do this. I tried to do this, and I look red. What happens if I turn this light off? Damn sun gotta come to the freaking... I don't know if that does anything. Alright. So... today, in the first ever Tubi Tuesday, I decided to do the movie Mr. Brooks, starring Kevin Costner, Marge Helgenberger, Daniel Panabaker, William Hurt, Dane Cook, Demi Moore. Came out in 2007 and is a psychological thriller. And follows the story of a Mr. Earl Brooks, played by Kevin Costner, who has an alter ego that makes him commit murders. He wants to stop, but after his most recent murder, he finds that somebody was watching, because these people like to fuck with the curtains open. And I know that's stupid. So now this guy, Mr. Smith, played by Dane Cook, is blackmailing him because he wants to be a serial killer too. Compound that with a detective who is trying to find what is called a thumbprint murderer, which is his MO. He's the thumbprint killer or whatever. His daughter coming back from college, finding out she's pregnant and that she might be like him. The alter ego always, messing with his head. And a murder investigation. A lot of stuff happening. So, let's talk about this movie. First and foremost, I gotta mention this. An amazing coincidence, it has to be, happened while watching this. Of course, I watched this on Tubi. There are ads on Tubi. And so I'm watching this. And they go to an ad. Now, this movie stars Kevin Costner. Remember that. So it goes to an ad, and in this ad there is a song. It is Dolly Parton's version of I Will Always Love You, and I will always love you. And I just went, no. Really? Because if you don't know, Kevin Costner was in a little movie called The Bodyguard with Whitney Houston, and she sang her own version of that song in that movie. Come together. It's just weird. It's really weird. So, yes, Mr. Brooks, Earl Brooks is this, I don't know what his job is. I don't know if they ever said it. They just know that he's very well known. That's all. I don't remember what his job is, but he's very well known, and he's honored at this place, and then he gets the itch to kill. So he goes to this couple's house, and he kills them when they're in the middle of fucking, and he shoots them. We get to see some titties, only shot at titties in this, and he kills them, and then he realizes that the blinds were wide open. He shuts them, and then takes his own pictures that he arranges them. And then he leaves. He has his own little secret murder house thing that he goes to. Okay. And, so, we are presented this alter ego. I thought, when I first saw this movie, and when I first heard about this movie, I thought that it was the alternate ego takes over and forces him to kill. Sort of like a, sort of thing. Like, he doesn't know what's going on, and the alter ego is taking over and killing, and he finds out about it. I know that's a little bit like, My Soul to Take where he had that one killer alternate ego. But that's not what happens. It basically just eggs him on. So I don't really know what this other identity is for. He doesn't at any point turn into that character or anything. It's him the entire time. So I don't know where that's supposed to go, but William Hurt is pretty good at his role. He doesn't do much. He just basically talks to him and goats him on. And Dan Cook plays this guy named Mr. Smith. I'll just call him that. Remember his real name. And he blackmails him. He's like, I saw you. He's like, how do you know who I am? Well, duh, you were honored. So you in the paper. And he tells him, I have these pictures of you killing them. And I will go to the cops if you don't, teach me the ways of how to do this. And Dan Cook's performance in this is pretty good. His character is terrible, but he's a pretty good performance. So his character wants to be a killer. And like his first victim he wants to do is someone who cut him off in traffic, and they try to do the thing. So we see that Mr. Brooks, he takes great care in who he's going to murder, how he's going to do it. Every time it's the same way, but he digs up things on people. He knows who they are, what they do. He does his, when they're going to be home, when they're not going to be home, that sort of thing. But not for Mr. Smith. And we see this, that he's not prepared because they go to kill this guy. So, okay, before I do this, there's multiple subplots in this film that can get a little bit too much. He kills someone, and then someone saw it. Mr. Smith saw it. There's a detective who's trying to find this thumbprint killer. But also, she has a whole other case of someone who threatened her before when he went to jail, and he got out of jail, and now her husband, which, by the way, is suing her for money at this time, thinks that he's, gonna be a target. And, then Brooks' daughter comes home, and turns out that she not only dropped out of college, but she's pregnant. And then, she might have killed someone. So now he has to go and kill someone else in Palo Alto so that they think that she's not the killer. Because he thinks that she's going to have the same tendencies that he does. And then there's the subplot where Mr. Smith goes to the cops, but then backs out at the last moment. Not really subplot, but there's so many subplots in this film. To be honest, it may be a little too much for some people, and I was just like, how many subplots are there? So many. And then the ending of this film confused me. Not the end scene, that was actually pretty good, but so we are shown. So he goes with Mr. Smith to commit this murder. He commits the murder, and Mr. Smith pisses himself, leaving, evidence behind. DNA evidence, that's what I'm looking for. And so, but the thing is, because people that they kill are, the detective's ex-husband and his lawyer, who he's fucking, by the way, which, that right there, instead of killing them, I don't know how you do that. Take a picture of them and send it to her. That there would stop the lawsuit. Because that there is a, what's that called when you're too close to the situation, right? She's sleeping with him, so that's, I don't know, it's something. If I don't remember by the time this is over, comments, but it's conflict of interest. It's a conflict of interest because they're doing it, and she's sleeping with him. And it's a conflict of interest. She can no longer be his lawyer, and they can dismiss the case. So that would work, but instead they get killed. And then on the drive home, Mr. Smith pulls a gun, which Mr. Brooks he saw it coming, and he took the firing pin out or something, and so it doesn't go off, and because the plan was, I want you to bury me in the cemetery. I want you to shoot me and bury me with just enough dirt. This is a good plan, by the way, because he doesn't want his family to know. And so he wants Mr. Smith to kill him and then bury his body with just enough dirt to cover him. And then they'll put in an open grave, by the way. And then they'll put a casket on top and bury it, and they'll never find his body. Not a bad plan. But then he decides at the last minute, no, I want to be there for my grandchild, which she still hasn't figured out if she's going to keep it or not. So that's kind of, if she had definitely said, hey, I want to keep it, or called him at some point and say, I want to keep the baby, but no, she doesn't. So there's no, by the way, her being pregnant didn't go anywhere. Nope. Other than him wanting to be there for his grandchild, that's the only thing. But, yeah, and then, so then he kills Smith, and so he's set up as the thumbprint killer because his DNA is at the site. But what I don't get is that after the guy and his lawyer, the ex-husband and lawyer, are killed, her partner or whatever shows up to arrest her for the murders. That doesn't make any sense to me. Yes, I know. Oh, but she should be liable. She's a cop. She's tracking down the thumbprint killer. And they're like, oh, well, you could have set it up to fake it like a thumbprint murder. But, it doesn't make sense because there's DNA evidence. Why is she even a suspect? There's DNA evidence. You have your DNA evidence. Check that first before you suspect a cop. Alright? It just makes no sense. That makes no sense. And then, so she gets, and this, we gotta solve this subplot with the guy who escaped trying to kill her, right? Because it just upends the movie. It really does. Like, she's on the track trying to find this thumbprint killer, but then she's also in the middle of this divorce settlement, and then this guy abducts her in a van. And with his girlfriend, I guess? I don't know. And then we gotta solve that, because that's the only one of these side plots that really gets solved. With her, at least. And, like, she gets an address that she thinks is Mr. Smith's new address. Because apparently Mr. Brooks cleared out everything in Mr. Smith's apartment. How he did that, I don't know. But, if you follow... She follows the thing, because the guy shows up, and he's like, well, I gotta take you in. She goes, I've gotta finish this. I have a lead. And she goes, and it leads her to the other guy. This other killer that was on the other case. And she kills them, or she doesn't kill them, she incapacitates them, and then the guy kills his girlfriend and kills himself, which isn't really a solution. She could have done it. I don't know. But, yeah. And so, okay, so this is where it gets confusing for me. I don't understand why he does this. So, Mr. Smith is dead. He shoots him, he buries him, like he said he was going to do it himself. So, Mr. Brooks does this, and he does meticulously. He has set it up so that it is Mr. Smith that gets all the blame. And he, after all the rants of how you have to be meticulous, you have to be, make sure there is nothing to tie you to it, what does he do? He calls the cop. He calls Demi Moore and asks her why she wanted to be a cop. And then she hears his voice and said, oh, that's not Mr. Smith. And now she knows that Mr. Smith is not the fucking killer. Why would you do that? Especially when you're going to say you're going to stop killing. Why would you do that? Because they planned this to be a trilogy. So we have to sow the seeds for the next one. And that leads into the final scene. Mr. Smith gets up, Mr. Smith, stop calling him that. Mr. Brooks gets up in the middle of the night. He goes to his daughter's room and he kisses her on the cheek. She wakes up, fucking stabs him in the neck with some scissors. And it's a fantastic fucking scene where as he's dying, she picks up his glasses, puts them on her face, like, because that's the killer thing. You know, I don't remember seeing him wear them throughout the film, but except for that thing at the beginning, and she puts them on, and as he dies, and then he wakes up because it's a dream, and that's how it ends. And they planned this to be a trilogy, but of course they didn't make enough money off it, so nope. I wish that they didn't always have to make money off of shit. I wish that they would, like, you know, I wish that if they were planning to do a trilogy, do the fucking trilogy. Look at the Divergent franchise, right? There's supposed to be, 3 or 4 movies? And because this last movie that was released didn't make enough money, they decided we're not going to make any more. But you didn't finish what you were doing. If you're set forth to make something, finish it. I don't care how much money you make. There are more fans out there that want a sequel than those who don't. Trust me, I've seen other people's reviews. They want a sequel to this film. And 2021 now might be a little too late. You can't rightfully, the actors aged over 10 years now. There's no way to do it. 14 years. Now, there's no way to do it the way you wanted to do it. But the ideas they had weren't that bad. I would have liked to see more. But, this was a fantastic film. I'm going to give it 9 out of 10. The performances are great. Costner, Demi Moore, even Dane Cook, William Hurt, fantastic. I recommend it to anyone out there. A nice, solid, good first Tubi Tuesday, I think. 9 out of 10. So what are your thoughts on Mr. Brooks? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.